mood around Meghan Markle seems to be shifting once again, and in the ever-watchful world of royal watchers and Hollywood insiders, whispers of a new crisis are growing louder by the day. For years, Meghan has been a figure who inspires intense fascination, admiration from supporters, and sharp criticism from detractors. Ever since she and Prince Harry stepped away from royal duties in 2020, their journey has unfolded like an ongoing drama played out on the global stage. At first, their move to California appeared to open an entirely new chapter filled with opportunity, independence, and massive media deals that promised to reshape how the modern royal story would be told. Their partnership with streaming giant Netflix and their multi-million-dollar media ambitions suggested that the couple was about to build a powerful new brand beyond the walls of Buckingham Palace. But the world of celebrity, influence, and streaming empires can be unpredictable, and what once looked like an unstoppable momentum now appears to be facing serious questions. Over the past few months, observers have begun to notice subtle signs that the path forward may not be as smooth as once imagined. Projects that were once heavily promoted have slowed down, plans that seemed certain have become less clear, and industry insiders have quietly started to wonder whether the couple's Hollywood strategy is entering a difficult phase. In the fast-moving world of entertainment, success depends not only on star power but also on delivering projects that capture audiences again and again. When expectations are sky-high, even small setbacks can suddenly feel like a much bigger storm. For Meghan in particular, the pressure is enormous. Since leaving the United Kingdom, she has tried to reshape her public identity from royal duchess to media entrepreneur, storyteller, and advocate for causes she believes in. That transformation was never going to be simple. Every decision she makes is dissected by commentators, journalists, and millions of viewers online. When a project succeeds, it is celebrated widely, but when something struggles, the criticism arrives just as quickly. The scrutiny surrounding her has rarely faded, and now many analysts believe she is navigating another complicated moment in that ongoing narrative. Some of the tension comes from the reality that audiences today are far more skeptical and demanding than they were even a decade ago. Viewers expect authenticity, compelling storytelling, and genuine connection. In an age where countless creators compete for attention, maintaining public interest is a constant challenge. Even figures with global name recognition must continuously reinvent themselves to stay relevant. Meghan's supporters argue that she is still building that new identity and that reinvention takes time. Critics, however, suggest that the expectations created by the couple's massive media deals have not always matched the results so far. At the same time, the royal connection continues to cast a long shadow. No matter how determined Meghan and Harry may be to build an independent life in the United States, the public never stops linking their story to the institution they left behind. The British monarchy remains one of the most recognized symbols in the world, now led by King Charles III, with the next generation represented by Prince William and his family. Every move Meghan makes is inevitably compared to the traditions and expectations of that institution. In many ways, that comparison keeps the spotlight on her, but it also keeps the pressure extremely high. Another factor shaping the conversation is the media environment itself. Today's headlines are often driven by dramatic language and fast-moving speculation. A single rumor can explode across social media within hours, creating a narrative long before all the facts are clear. That environment means public figures like Meghan can find themselves at the center of a crisis story almost overnight. Whether the issue is a delayed project, a business negotiation, or simply a shift in strategy, it can quickly be framed as a major turning point. The reality behind the scenes is often far more complex than the headlines suggest. For Meghan, the challenge now may be about navigating perception as much as reality. The brand she and Harry created after stepping back from royal duties was built on the promise of independence, creativity, and a new way of telling stories. That vision attracted enormous interest around the world. Yet with that interest came expectations that were almost impossible to satisfy completely. Every new project is now seen as a test of whether that vision is truly working. When things move smoothly, the narrative becomes one of triumph and reinvention. When obstacles appear, the narrative quickly shifts to crisis. Still, it would be a mistake to assume that the story is nearing its end. Meghan has repeatedly demonstrated that she is capable of surprising both supporters and critics with unexpected moves. From launching new ventures to exploring different media formats, she has shown a willingness to experiment and adapt. In the unpredictable world of entertainment and global celebrity, resilience can be just as important as initial success. Many public figures have faced moments where their plans seemed uncertain, only to return later with projects that redefine their careers. What makes Meghan's situation especially fascinating is the scale of attention surrounding her life. Few people in the modern era have experienced such an intense combination of royal tradition, celebrity culture, and global media scrutiny. Each chapter of her journey becomes part of a larger narrative that people around the world continue to follow with curiosity. Whether one views her story as inspiring, controversial, or simply captivating, it remains impossible to ignore. And that is perhaps the most important point in understanding the so-called new crisis. In today's media landscape, the line between challenge and opportunity can be surprisingly thin. What appears to be a setback today may become the turning point that leads to a completely new direction tomorrow. For Meghan Markle, whose life has already moved through several extraordinary transformations, the current moment may simply be another stage in a story that is far from finished. The spotlight remains bright, the speculation continues, and the world is still watching closely to see what the next chapter will reveal. As the conversation around Meghan Markle continues to grow louder, the deeper question many observers are beginning to ask is not simply whether she is facing another difficult moment, but what this moment truly represents in the long arc of her post-royal life. When she and Prince Harry made the historic decision to step away from their roles as senior members of the monarchy, it was described as a bold break from centuries of tradition. For supporters, it symbolized independence and the chance to shape their own narrative. For critics, it raised doubts about whether a life outside the royal institution could sustain the same level of influence and stability. In the early months after their move to California, everything seemed to suggest that a powerful new chapter was beginning. Major media companies lined up to work with them. Global interviews drew massive audiences, and their story dominated headlines from London to Los Angeles. The partnership with Netflix in particular was seen as a defining moment, a signal that the couple intended to transform their experiences into storytelling projects that could reach millions of viewers worldwide. The promise of documentaries, creative productions, and socially focused programming created the impression that they were building a new kind of media platform, one rooted in personal narrative and modern influence. Yet building that kind of empire is rarely simple. Hollywood is a place where even the most promising partnerships can evolve in unexpected ways. Creative differences, shifting audience trends, and the intense competition for streaming attention can reshape plans almost overnight. Insiders often describe the industry as a world where success must constantly be reinvented, where yesterday's triumph does not guarantee tomorrow's momentum. In that environment, any delay or change of direction can quickly become the subject of speculation. For Meghan, that speculation carries an added layer because her story is not just about entertainment. It is about identity, reputation, and the balance between public image and personal ambition. Since leaving the royal family, she has attempted to redefine herself through multiple roles: producer, podcast host, entrepreneur, and advocate for social issues. Each of those roles comes with its own expectations and pressures. Supporters believe she is forging a new model for what a modern public figure can achieve after leaving a traditional institution. Critics argue that the results have not always matched the scale of the promises. Meanwhile, the royal world she left behind continues to evolve. Under the reign of King Charles III, the monarchy itself is attempting to modernize while maintaining its historic identity. At the same time, the next generation led by Prince William is preparing to carry that institution into the future. That ongoing transformation means Meghan's story is constantly compared with the changing narrative of the royal family itself. Even though she now lives thousands of miles away, the connection between her journey and the monarchy's evolution remains impossible to separate in the public imagination. This constant comparison creates a unique challenge. For many celebrities, A career setback might simply be a private business matter. For Meghan, it instantly becomes a global discussion about legacy, influence, and the meaning of her departure from royal life. Every project she launches is interpreted as either proof of success or evidence of struggle. The reality behind the scenes may be far more nuanced, involving negotiations, creative planning, and long-term strategy that the public rarely sees. Another element shaping this moment is the powerful role of public perception. In the digital age, narratives can form and spread with incredible speed. A single report, a short clip, or a trending headline can shape the way millions of people understand a story within hours. Once that narrative takes hold, it can be difficult to shift. For Meghan, who has been one of the most discussed public figures of the past decade, this dynamic means that even routine developments can appear dramatic when viewed through the lens of constant media attention. Yet history shows that moments labeled as crises often become turning points rather than endings. Many figures in both entertainment and public life have faced periods where their direction seemed uncertain, only to re-emerge with projects that redefine their careers. Reinvention is almost a requirement in a world where audiences' interests evolve quickly and new platforms constantly reshape how stories are told. For Meghan, the coming months may reveal whether this moment is truly a setback or simply part of a longer transformation. The skills that once helped her navigate the intense scrutiny of royal life, resilience, adaptability, and the ability to capture global attention, remain powerful tools. Whether she chooses to focus on new media projects, entrepreneurial ventures, or philanthropic work, the path ahead still holds many possibilities. What makes the situation so compelling is that Meghan's journey has always been about more than individual success. It reflects broader questions about tradition, modern identity, and the power of storytelling in shaping how public figures are understood. From the moment she entered the royal family to the day she stepped away from it, her life has been woven into a narrative that people around the world continue to follow with fascination, and so, as headlines speak of uncertainty and commentators debate what comes next, one thing remains clear. The story of Meghan Markle is far from finished. In a world where public attention can shift quickly but rarely disappears entirely, the next chapter may arrive when few expect it. Whether it brings a reinvention, a new creative venture, or an unexpected direction, the spotlight surrounding her life ensures that when the next move comes, the world will be watching once again. And yet, as the speculation continues to swirl, one reality remains impossible to ignore. The public fascination with Meghan Markle has never truly faded. If anything, it has evolved into something even more powerful. Every phase of her life, from her early acting career to her unexpected entry into the British royal family, and then her dramatic departure alongside Prince Harry, has unfolded under a spotlight few people in modern history have experienced. That spotlight can be both a powerful opportunity and an unforgiving pressure. In many ways, the current conversation about a new crisis reflects a deeper tension between expectation and reality. When Meghan and Harry first announced their decision to build a life outside the monarchy, the world imagined an entirely new model for modern celebrity influence. They were not simply stepping away from royal duties, they were attempting to build something different, an independent platform that blended storytelling, advocacy, and global media influence. It was an ambitious vision, and ambition often attracts both excitement and skepticism in equal measure. The early signs seemed promising. Major interviews dominated global headlines, their documentary projects generated enormous curiosity, and their brand quickly became one of the most discussed in the world. But success in the entertainment industry is rarely linear. Even experienced producers and long-established studios face unexpected hurdles when turning ideas into projects that resonate with audiences. Creative industries move quickly, and public attention can shift just as rapidly. For Meghan, the challenge is amplified because every move she makes is interpreted as part of a larger narrative about her place in history. Supporters see her as a symbol of independence and reinvention, a woman who stepped away from centuries of royal tradition to define her own path. Critics view her journey as a cautionary tale about the difficulties of leaving an institution as powerful and globally recognized as the British monarchy. Between those two perspectives lies a complicated reality that few outsiders can fully understand. At the same time, the institution she left continues its own transformation. Under King Charles III, the royal family is attempting to balance tradition with modern expectations. Meanwhile, the future of that institution increasingly rests with the next generation, particularly Prince William, who is widely seen as representing a more modern and focused vision of the monarchy. This evolving royal landscape ensures that Meghan's story remains connected to the broader conversation about what the monarchy will look like in the decades ahead. What makes this moment especially intriguing is the unpredictable nature of public opinion. In today's digital world, reputations can shift rapidly. A single project, a powerful interview, or a successful creative venture can transform a narrative almost overnight. Many figures who once appeared to be facing career uncertainty later returned with ideas that completely changed the conversation surrounding them. Reinvention has always been a defining feature of modern celebrity culture. For Meghan, reinvention may once again become the key theme of her story. She has already moved through several distinct identities: actress, duchess, advocate, media producer. And each stage has required a different set of skills and strategies. The next phase could involve exploring new creative formats, launching entrepreneurial ventures, or focusing more deeply on causes that align with her personal values. The possibilities remain wide open. Another factor that should not be underestimated is the power of narrative itself. Meghan and Harry have repeatedly shown that they understand how storytelling shapes public perception. Whether through documentaries, interviews, or personal projects, they have used media platforms to present their perspective on events that defined their lives. In a world where stories travel instantly across continents, that ability to control or influence the narrative can be incredibly powerful. Of course, the pressure that comes with that power is immense. Every project must meet expectations that are often far higher than those placed on other public figures. When people around the world are watching closely, even small developments can appear dramatic. But that same attention also ensures that opportunities for renewal are always within reach. As the discussion about Meghan's future continues, one thing is certain: her story has never followed a predictable path. Time and again, moments that seemed uncertain eventually led to unexpected transformations. Whether this period becomes remembered as a setback, a strategic pause, or the beginning of another reinvention will depend largely on the choices she makes in the months ahead. For now, the world remains captivated by the unfolding narrative. Commentators analyze every headline, supporters defend her vision, critics question her strategy, and millions of viewers continue to watch with curiosity. In an era where public figures can fade from attention within weeks, the fact that Meghan Markle remains one of the most talked about personalities on the global stage says something powerful about the enduring fascination surrounding her life. And perhaps that is the real story behind the headlines. Beyond the speculation, beyond the debates about success or struggle, Meghan's journey continues to reflect a broader question about modern fame, independence, and the courage to step away from tradition in search of a different future. Whatever the next chapter holds, it is almost certain that it will once again capture the attention of a world that has been watching her story unfold for years. As the conversation slowly settles and the speculation continues to echo across newsrooms and social media feeds, the final question many observers are quietly asking is simple but powerful. What comes next for Meghan Markle? For someone whose life has unfolded in such an extraordinary and public way, every chapter has carried an element of unpredictability. Moments that once appeared to be turning points have often led to entirely new directions, proving that the story surrounding her rarely follows a straight line. For Meghan and Prince Harry, the decision to step away from royal duties years ago was never meant to be a temporary move. It was a declaration that they wanted control over their own future, free from the traditions and expectations that define the British royal system. That decision instantly reshaped their lives and turned them into two of the most closely watched public figures in the world. Every project they pursue, every partnership they announce, and every public appearance they make is analyzed in extraordinary detail. Yet beneath the headlines and commentary lies a quieter reality. Reinvention is rarely comfortable. Irring. A new identity, after leaving an institution as powerful as the monarchy, requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to face setbacks along the way. Even within Hollywood and the media industry, where success stories are often celebrated, many creative ventures experience delays, changes, or unexpected challenges before finding their true direction. At the same time, the royal family itself continues to move forward under King Charles III, while the next generation, led by Prince William, prepares for the future of the institution. That ongoing evolution ensures that Meghan's story will always remain connected to the wider narrative of the monarchy, even though she now lives far from the palace walls. The contrast between those two worlds, the structured traditions of royalty and the fluid landscape of modern celebrity, creates a tension that keeps audiences fascinated. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Meghan's journey is the way it continues to spark global conversation. Few individuals manage to remain at the center of public attention for so long while constantly reshaping their role in the spotlight. Whether she is launching a project, sharing her perspective through media, or simply appearing in a new setting, the reaction is almost always immediate and intense. In the end, the phrase "new crisis" may say more about the modern media environment than it does about the reality of Meghan's life. Headlines often highlight conflict and uncertainty because those stories capture attention quickly. But behind those headlines, real life unfolds at a slower and more complicated pace. Plans change, strategies evolve, and new opportunities appear where few expected them. For Meghan Markle, whose path has already moved through acting studios, royal ceremonies, global interviews, and media ventures, the next chapter could emerge in ways that surprise both supporters and critics alike. The world of entertainment and public influence is constantly shifting, and those who adapt creatively often find new ways to redefine themselves. So as the cameras keep rolling and the debates continue, one truth remains clear: the story is far from over. The spotlight that once followed Meghan into the royal family still follows her today, illuminating every new step she takes. Whether the future brings renewed success, unexpected challenges, or another bold reinvention, the world will almost certainly be watching closely. Because in the ever-changing intersection of royalty, celebrity, and modern media, the journey of Meghan Markle has become more than just a personal story. It has become a global narrative that continues to unfold, chapter by chapter, long after the palace gates closed behind her.